So it's one of the most important messages I have for entrepreneurs is that you should have gold and you should have silver and real estate.
Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, his goal in life is to showcase to people how important financial education is and offers a variety of resources to share his findings on how normal people like you and me can get rich. In this video, we will cover 4 extremely important lessons that Robert learned to get rich.
Failure should inspire you to get smarter. And unfortunately, our school system says if you fail, you're stupid. That is not true. You know, we learn from our mistakes. Mistakes are opportunities to get smarter, be humble, and take a look at something. And that's the problem with most people today as they leave school. Most of them haven't really learned much because I don't remember my 3rd year of calculus. I have no idea what I learned there, but I did learn that I failed. And when I failed, I was going to be, this is in the 60s, I was going to get sent straight to Vietnam. So failure was a very painful subject. I also failed English twice in high school. And today I'm known as a writer. But so failure is the key to success, except in school.
Lesson 1. Failure doesn't mean you're failing. One thing that is often misunderstood about failure is that it is the end all be all of any situation. Whether it be a failed business, failed project, or a failed venture, many entrepreneurs believe that this means this is the end. In fact, what we may not realize about failure is that it is merely showcasing to you what didn't work and is providing a lesson to you that you can take with you on future ventures. Failure doesn't mean you're failing. It simply means you have found one of the ways that doesn't work and can move on to the next.
So you have to understand tax. You see, this is all over the world, very little difference. These guys pay 40% of their money in taxes. So they make $1,000, they're going to spend $400 in taxes. These guys that make $1,000, they're going to pay 60% in tax. So our schools are teaching entrepreneurship, but they're not teaching them tax. Okay? And because they're focusing on income. Over here, it's 20% in tax. So they make $1,000, only $200 goes to tax, and these guys, 0%. So the reason financial education isn't working in our school systems is they're teaching financial education for these people and these people, but to really become rich, you have to focus on this side here. And that's the difference between Rich Dad and the financial and what they're teaching in school right now. I'd rather be on this side. This side is a lot harder, but in the long run, it's more fun for me. On this side here, it's harder, but you're paying tax constantly. So these guys here are saying tax to rich. Well, these guys don't pay taxes. And as strange as that may seem, and I'm talking about legal, this is all over the world. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I wrote about Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's. And he was teaching at the University of Texas, the MBA program. And Ray asked, and most of the MBAs are going to come out here. So Ray Kroc asked him, he says, what business is McDonald's in? And everybody yelled and said, no, we know you're in hamburgers. And Ray says, no, we're not, McDonald's is not hamburgers. McDonald's is in the business of real estate over here. So you have McDonald's here, and the money McDonald's makes buys the real estate. And that is my formula. This is Rich Dad. I own real estate. I don't hang out here. I'm glad you guys are here, right? And we do our best to make sure you're educated and you have your own businesses and things like this here. But really the formula I follow personally is McDonald's. We have an education company that buys real estate, which means we make a lot of money, pay 0 taxes, legally.
Lesson 2. Taxes aren't as complicated as you think. Let's be honest here. No one likes paying their taxes, and many people get frustrated on why certain companies and people who are enjoying the rich life don't pay taxes. It's simply because there are many different loopholes that they are privy to that many common folk are not. In his story about his rich dad, Robert often speaks about how his rich dad provided some excellent advice when it comes to taxes. Do some research, and you'll find that there may be ways that you can also benefit from these loopholes.
In school, they compensate for risk by telling you to memorize the right answer. So in other words, these kids leave, the young people like you, leave school thinking, oh, if I know the right answers, then there's no risk. And it drives old guys like me crazy. Because everybody's talking about millennials. What's wrong with them? You know, millennials are the most highly educated generation in history. They have the cell phone. They didn't get educated in school. They got educated on social media, on the cell phones. They know all the answers, but they're afraid of doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest complaint about my generation is millennials know all the answers, but they can't do anything. And the reason they can't do anything is because you might hurt somebody's feelings, you might make a mistake, you know, and that just keeps you guys just trapped in this little box here.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I think millennial money is such an important point here, because if you're going to come into my world, old guy's world, or the information age, you've really got to understand what is risky and what is not risky. And in my world, if you play it safe, that makes you stupid. Because if you don't take risks, you don't get smarter. Number one schools do is they punish you for making mistakes. Are people punished for making mistakes here?
No, it's encouraged. We want you to.
And then as long as you learn from them.
Yep, fail hard, fail fast, learn and move on.
What happens if you made a mistake and you didn't tell everybody?
If I don't tell anybody, well, then that doesn't let the team grow from my own mistake.
Now, what happens if you cover it up?
Then I'm punished if I cover it
Yeah, you
up.
probably get fired for that.
Yeah.
You see, the worst thing that happens in an organization like this is when you make a mistake, you cover it up. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
But that's what they teach you in school.
Lesson 3. Learn to take risks. Taking risks is one of the most terrifying things you can do. It can seem daunting at first, but by being able to take the risk in life, it allows you to grow not only as a business owner, but also as a person as well. If you are able to afford to take a risk, do it.
I think the biggest secret of my success is I have all, you know, we all have these. We all have some degree of physical things we do. Emotionally, I'm a basket case a lot of the time, you know. I get upset, I get angry, I get sad, I get my feelings hurt. And I'm always, this is good, this is bad, this is, you know, you watch politics, it's all good and bad, it's a bunch of BS. But what keeps me going is this, and it's spiritual, is how can I serve others?
Lesson 4. Find out ways you can serve others. Most people don't realize that by being able to give back to your community, whether it be time or money invested in sports teams, school events, local plays, or whatever suits your fancy, it allows you to become ingrained in the community and build a stronger connection with your community and customers.
If I was starting out, if I was broke or I had very little money, if I had $5,000 in the bank account, right? And it was possible. Now I understand for a lot of you guys, you have family to deal with, you have a girlfriend to deal with, you have this to deal with, that to do, I understand. But if you can, book a ticket out to Austria, book a ticket out to some remote place in America, book a ticket out to Iceland, book a ticket out and stay for 3 months in a place which is super cheap, right? So you can get some apartment in the center of Austria, or if you want to go to even maybe like the center of Barcelona, you could get a decent place, like whatever it may be, and just be with yourself for 3 months. You know, get away from your friends, get away from the things, you know, the day-to-day activities that you're doing which aren't bringing you the results you want. Get away from your family that's maybe whispering in your ear that this is a terrible idea. You need to like, just be isolated. And guys, you could just sacrifice 3-4 months in isolation, just being on your own, working on this thing that's gonna literally provide you for the rest of your life. That would be my advice for someone starting out, because I honestly think that is that's the most important thing. I think isolation is where you grow, and I think so many people these days with social media and television and YouTube and all these distractions and things are just meant to make sure that we never have to deal with being alone with ourselves. And I think that's the scariest thing for everyone, is just having some alone time. You know, the way I can tell usually, and there are outliers, there are people that this doesn't apply for. Usually the way I can tell someone isn't successful is if their attention span is short, if they're constantly on their phone. And this is something I struggle with too, considering that like I run businesses on my phone, I make so much money on my phone. But I can tell when someone doesn't have those times where they're just alone with themselves, or or doesn't do, you know, some sort of mindfulness practice or reading or anything like that, usually I can tell they're broke. This world, like, the people that can focus are the ones that employ the ones that can't, because the ones that can't need direction and need, you know, someone to show them exactly what to do. So guys, really, as I said, if I was starting out and I had even $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, let alone, let's say, even getting your own place, I would go, say I have relatives in like Russia or something like that, which I do. You know, I ask one of them, I'm like, look, can I crash with you for a month, 2 months? You know, if you moved away from your parents, go live back with your parents for like 2-3 months in their basement. You know, find a way, make it work. But for me, the key would be isolation and going like, look, for 3 months, I'm gonna, you know, lock myself in a room and make this happen. I think you should use hate as a motivator when you first begin. You know, the whole like the haters type thing? Like, I think you should use that in the beginning. I think you should be driven by like, you know, materialistic like bull at the beginning. I think you should be driven by like fear. Look, when I first started entrepreneurship, the reason I started all this was completely out of fear. Fear for what would happen in the future for me and my mom if I didn't do this. If I did not start a business, if I didn't, you know, start entrepreneurship, I was just so scared of what was gonna happen in the future that lit a fire under my ass every single day. I think, you know, the advice that, you know, don't use motivation, like, you know, prove them wrong and stuff like that, I think that's wrong. When you're first starting and you need to take action, I think the best way to take action is to get fired up, get angry, you know, get fired up, get angry, and then take that energy and put that into your business, put that into whatever you're trying to create. And then once you get further and further down the line, you can start going, look, I need to do this for the other people like me, right? I need to do this for the fact that like, I'm so blessed that I'm even alive. I need to do this for the greater good. I need to do this for the world. I need to do this for society. And then you get to a place where it's like, I need to do this because I need to become the best version of myself. But when you're first starting, you're broke, you have no money, using I need to do this to become the best version of myself as motivation, I don't think that's very inspiring. When you first start anything, the biggest issue you'll encounter is apathy. It's the fact that like, you're just kind of indifferent. You say you want something, but you don't really care that much. You say you want to have a business, but if you don't, whatever, you're kind of just going to continue living life as you kind of are right now, right? That's apathy. Apathy kills most people. Most people are just dead inside and they live life like this. You know, wherever you're at right now, just embrace it. If the cars motivate you right now and that genuinely does motivate you, go for it. If proving people wrong motivates you, go for it. If doing something for the greater good of society motivates you right now, go.
If I feel extremely happy and excited, I'm going to use that as motivation or energy to do amazing things and do good and work hard. If I feel absolutely depressed and distraught, I'm going to use that as endless energy and motivation to do amazing things and work hard. It doesn't matter what you give me. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted and transferred. It doesn't matter what fuel you give me. If you give me diesel, petrol, kerosene, vodka, doesn't matter what you put inside of my engine.
Hard work is going to come out.
Absolutely. Success. That's all I know how to do.
Making the best move on the chessboard, regardless of how losing your position is, it's a life philosophy that most will never understand. Sometimes you look at your position on the board and you're fucked. But still, regardless of how fucked you are, there's still a best move. There's always a best move and a worse move, no matter how bad things are. Many people, when they get to a losing position, think, it doesn't matter, I don't have to make the best move anymore. I actually disagree. Maybe 9 times out of 10, the best move won't save you, but that 1 time out of 10, the best move might be just enough to save your ass. And on a long enough time frame, if you play the game repeatedly, day after day, taking risks, always making the best move regardless of whether you're winning or losing, it will compound into an upward spiral of never-ending success. You might end up somewhere near me. You might have dinner one day. You might stop being a brokey. You might stop being a loser. If your girl leaves you, the best move on the board perhaps is to go to the gym, perhaps is to send her flowers, perhaps is to never text her again. But you should make the best move on the board regardless. Even if you don't want her back, you should still make the best move. You should always think that way. What move will give me the best possible strategic position? That's how you think. That's how I think. Best move on the board is how you should approach your life. Next time you're in a situation, you should sit and say, okay, this is a bad situation, I'm fucked. But what's the best move I could possibly make? What's the outcome I would like? What's the most likely move to give me that particular outcome? And you'd be surprised what some of them are. I had a guy email me the other day saying he lost his job. And he was the worst salesman. said, well, then you deserve to lose your job. That's how sales works. It's fearsome. He goes, well, I don't know. What should I do? I said, what's the best move on the board? He goes, well, I really want the sales job. I think I can get good at it. I said, well, then work for free. So do you have another job yet? He said, no. Okay, while you're applying for other jobs, instead of sitting around on your ass at home, keep working for free for the company for 2 or 3 weeks and see if you can turn it around. And he tried that, and he couldn't because he's shit at sales. But the point is, if he would have sat at home doing nothing, it wouldn't have helped him. The best move on the board was to try and prove to his company that he's actually worth something. If he was worth something, in those 2 or 3 weeks, he might have turned it around and got his job back. He still got to apply for new jobs. He didn't lose anything. Best move on the chessboard. That's how I want you to approach your life, ladies and gentlemen. It's the mental model in which you should apply to scenarios to deduce what is the best possible action. Because if you're always making the best move and very rarely making the worst move, it's pretty hard to lose. It's player versus player out here. The world is about winners and losers, and everyone is competing against each other. You are competing against me, I'm competing against you, you're competing against your friends. You're competing against your enemies. You want $1, so does everyone else. You want that hot girl, so does everyone else. You want that house, so does everyone else. What's amazing is the things you want, the main reason you want them is because other people want them. So you can show off that you have it and they don't. It is competition. It's kind of like the age-old adage. If a tiger is chasing 10 people, you don't have to be the fastest. You just have to be faster than the slowest guy, because he's fucked. So considering that a lot of people are constantly making the wrong moves, if you can just start to make the right moves most of the time, you'll see exactly how easy life can be.
The way that humans work and the way that we've evolved as a species is that we don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I believe that unless a lesson has taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses and people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down till he wrecks it.
Yeah.
Like, this is how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is, there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it, act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company, that when you have 3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lesson. I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car, I'm going to another meeting, work. I'm going to fuck a bitch, that's work. I'm going to go to the gym so I'm in good shape, work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in, if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game. So if you're the kind of person who's going to quit because it's hard, then fuck off. I don't even want your energy around me. Because quitters are the worst people on the planet. You can give a quitter absolutely everything and they will still fail. You can give it, doesn't matter what it is. If you go to IKEA and buy a flat pack fucking table and put it in front of a quitter, you will never have a table. He'll look at it, it's just long, and he'll quit. Quitters can have every single advantage. Quitters can have all the information. Quitters can have all the tutelage. Quitters can have a mentorship. Quitters can have someone who messages them every morning, hey bro, let's get it. And guess what they're gonna do at the end? Quit. They ain't never gonna have shit. So if you're a quitter, I don't even want you even inside my organization. I don't want quitters anywhere near me because you're never going to be successful. People say, hey man, you need to find what you're passionate about and do that. And what they're trying to say is only do what you like because you have no motivation to do anything else. And motivation in and of itself is a scam. I don't believe in motivation. I believe in discipline. I am not motivated to do the things I'm supposed to do every day. I don't wake up full of like joy that I have to go to the gym or that I have to work or got to deal with crap. I don't feel motivated to do them. I'm disciplined. I do them regardless of how I feel. Whether I'm in the mood to do it or I'm not in the mood to do it, it gets done. That's discipline. Discipline's a real thing. Motivation is fleeting. Yeah. You're never going to be permanently motivated. So when someone comes along and says, oh, do what you're passionate about, what they're saying is you'll have endless motivation and then you'll be able to try hard. If you're the kind of person who can only try hard at something he enjoys, then you're going to fail. Because most things you enjoy don't pay any money. If they paid money, you wouldn't enjoy them. It's called a job.
right? Nobody likes their job. You like your hobby. I'm sure you like playing video games. Maybe 1%, 0.1% can make money from video games, right? Most people, you ain't ever gonna make it. Be passionate about success. If you're passionate about money, then you can be passionate about anything. I'll be passionate about any business on earth that pays me. If you pay me $1 billion to dig that hole, I'll be very passionate about that hole. I will dig that hole with passion for the cat.
You're a man, right? And if you're a man, then it's absolutely an utterly different experience of life. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to endure pain. I think we're here to just see how hard we are to kill. I think that going through terrible things and living through them and coming out the other side is one of the most fantastic things about being human. I think that it's almost like once you understand what life is really about, there's no emotion which isn't enjoyable. The only emotional state which can be seen as detrimental is feeling nothing at all. But if you're sitting at home and you're feeling truly heartbroken, at least you're feeling something, right? And I think that's the whole part of being human. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to go through pain. That's so I wake up each day and go, what can I attack? What problem can I solve? If I'm unhappy with something and I'm uncomfortable with something, I fix it.
Yeah.
That's endless motivation, which I don't truly believe in as a concept, but that's endless fuel for the fire.
Right.
If I was unhappy with something about myself, regardless of what it was, I would be able to take all of that discomfort and turn it into endless energy to get the problem fixed.